the game, cause see the boxing voice.
Oh, so now you understand, huh? I mean, no. I mean, you do get it, right? He's not that guy. He doesn't really, believe in what he's saying, and he's not going to do the things that he's saying he's going to.
Well, he said he's going to knock you guys out.
He don't believe that.
We had a talk with not Ben Getty. Look, he got me messed up, but we had a talk with Dan Birmingham.
I saw Ben Getty a couple weeks ago.
How you saw him go? Oh, you went to the graveside?
No, it wasn't at the graveside. It was eerie though. I'm like I'm in a restaurant in the morning. I'm like, that looked like Ben Getty. I even took a picture of him. I got a picture of him if you want to see it.
Well, I did bring up that whole time that you guys spent with Keith in camp.
Yeah.
And he said you would, Dan, that is. He said you would say that Sean got the better of Keith, but he would say the same thing. So what really?
He would say that Sean got the better of Keith too?
No.
Because he said that. Because he made the call to the man and said they left. And what happened? Well, Keith couldn't handle him. So Dan said that. I didn't say that. Dan said that. But I can say it right now. Sean couldn't get the better of Keith because all Keith did was run.
Oh, okay.
We couldn't even hit the dude because all he did was run. There was no solid exchanges. He wouldn't sit down and have a cup of coffee with Sean. You know what I mean? And it came to a point where I was pissed off and I was like, you know what, today when we go in there, I said, track his ass down. Wherever he at, cut the ring off, get to him and track his ass down. And that's when Keith, literally, not figuratively, literally turned his back to get away from Sean by taking running steps. And so we fully expect to see that type of thing on Fight Night.
But
don't be surprised when you see it.
But how are you going to combat that? Because, we hear trainers, like, let's say, Ruben Guerrero. He'll say, Mayweather was chicken. He didn't want to stand and fight like a man. That's not really Keith Thurman's problem. That's Sean Porter's problem.
But you see, that's the difference between those guys and Sean. They're not the athlete that Sean is. They don't have the training. They don't have the ability to even begin to train a guy to move that way to begin with. But we've been working on that all his entire life. Fast movement, quick movements. This kid is a sprinter. He's a football player. He's a point guard. These are things when he's in the ring. This is what he does. And so I'm gonna stay on him this entire camp to cut the ring off, 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 and get to this man. And we're gonna punish him when we get to him. And if there's point in times where he's able to get away from Sean, I'm gonna stay on Sean's ass and say, man, don't you let him out of there again. And it's going to become evident to everybody that's watching that Keith don't want to stand and fight, and that Keith is literally at some point in time running to save his own ass. He ain't trying to get no knockout. What, you going to be running the other direction and throw the punch? So, yes, that's my job, and that's Sean's job, and it's my job to stay on him through that entire fight to get to that kid. We know what we're going to be dealing with when we get there. He is not going to stand there. So we already know going in, and I'm not going to be talking about all he did was run all night. No, that's my job before I get there. I know what the job is. Sean know what the job is. Now we have to prepare for other things as well, but that's going to be one of the things we definitely have to deal with. Keith moving, and we have to continue to cut him off. And we're going to go to that body early.
Now, you're going to go to the body. Obviously, us fans will say, it's because of what you've seen in the Collazo fight. He was vulnerable.
It doesn't matter who it is. If you've got a guy that can move, you need to get to his body. In order to take the wheels away, take the legs out. So you need to get to his body. If we're not able to get to his body because he's able to move and we're not able to get any solid shots off, but there's lots of times when Keith squares up, because he don't know if he's going to throw this punch or he's going to throw that punch. So there's lots of times he squares up. We should be able to get to the body by taking those angles. But if we're not able to get to that body and he's trying to protect it, that's going to leave that head open. And if you're trying to protect that head, we can get to that body. So something's going to open up at some point in time. There's going to be a lot of action, reaction. He's very spontaneous. He's not sure what he wants to do. And we have to just keep moving and working with him that entire fight.
Now, obviously, everyone is going to look at a fighter's past fights. And when you look at Porter's fight, you know that he went down in that 12th round versus Broner. You start to look at Keith Thurman, and you know that he calls himself one time. He has a fairly decent knockout ratio on his resume. How do you stop that from happening again? Or can it just happen and you just have to deal with it?
You know what? We know what happened that night. Sean knows what happened that night. He's not exactly sure why he did the dumb shit, but it had a lot.
You gotta you're the trainer. You can see those flaws, and the fighter.
He had like he went out there in that round thinking, dude ain't been doing nothing all night. He ain't about to do nothing. And he had a lapse of his focus at that point. The beautiful thing about that was, I don't have to even coach against that. All I have to do is show him that. See what you did? See what happened. It's already right there for you to look at and say, okay, I don't want that shit to happen again. I could just roll off of it next time. Or I could have just blocked it. So if you go back and look at it and slow it down, he actually watched the punch come and said, oh, I'm about to get hit. So that was a momentary lapse on his behalf, but you already know I'm staying on his ass about it. I'm not going to allow him to have those momentary lapses. We're going to go for 3 minutes of 12 rounds and 180 seconds of each round, staying on him to make sure that the focus is there the entire way, all the way into that last bell. On the breaks, when the referee is breaking, stay focused, stay on point, stay right back ready to jump on his ass again, applying some pressure to this boy that he's never had to deal with. And that's another thing. Keith has never had to deal with anybody that can move like Keith can move. Sean can keep up with Keith. Sean's in shape to keep up with Keith. We 8 weeks out and we're in excellent shape. Now it's about strategy and formulating different strategies because he's going to be changing all night long. So we got to formulate different strategies. We don't get no timeouts. We got to be on the fly as things are happening, action, reaction, but we'll be ready for it.
Did you ever get that 2 times? You say he's 1 time, you want to do it 2 times. I spoke to Dan. He said he agrees with you but he also, he did say, well, Kenny would say that because he's going to lose, so he wants 2.
Nah, and that's great on Dan's behalf. Dan is, he's actually, if I could get them, I really would love, and we right here, I really would love, let's discuss this contract. Let's discuss fighting twice. Don't send me a contract that only says you're only going to get the fight if we beat you. Send me a contract that says we're going to fight twice because you want to be great and you want to beat us twice. I want to be great. Sean wants to be great. We want to beat you the first time and show that we can do it a second time. That's what we want. And we would love to have that same situation with Tim Bradley, that same situation with Danny Garcia. We want those type of fights, and this is what these guys need to do. They need to challenge each other like Hearns, Hagler, Leonard, Duran. These guys need to fight each other, do that round robin, and find out who's great, and make each other great.